Hello, welcome along. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe down there, hit the notifications bell and give us a thumbs up if you like the video. If you're not new, welcome back. So here we are now with this, this is the brand new, as yet unavailable, our rifle model M1128, MGS Stryker after 2010. Even on the instructions it says after 2008, which is a bit weird. So yeah, in part one, I'm sorry about the abrupt ending if you did see that. I hadn't realised the camera had run out. So basically what we got, all I did was fitted these little valve protectors to the wheels. There's a ring going on this one, which is obviously for the operators to stand on to get on top. But the steering's all working, suspension's all working, and it's all very, very nice indeed. And all the wheels touch the ground, they all turn, and they all stand pretty much vertical as well, which is very unusual when you have toy-like features like this. I didn't finish it. I couldn't start. It was awful. I started to build, I think it was an AFV Club Valentine or something, and the wheels were so floppy on it. It was awful. So yeah. So we did up to step 6, which was the suspension, the wheels and everything. So now we're going to pick up from step 7. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I don't agree with all this adding detail like this and this and this and then adding the top. What I would much rather do is add this to the hull now so that I can take care of the seams. Now the thing is here, the only seams involved are under here, but I've got a feeling that all this plating, there would be seams there anyway. So there's certainly a seam there, there's certainly a seam here, and the fit is absolutely gorgeous. We'll probably have a panel through on the front there. So there's really no need to do that. So we can go on and build the model as normal. Having said that, it will need to be clamped to close up the... do we have a step in there? No, we have these pins. So we have mounting pins and holes. So isn't it wonderful how the Riffield model, being such a great manufacturer, they've got these big lugs on here, they've got these big brackets on here and all that, but there's no sink marks. There's absolutely no shrinkage anywhere on this. So some of the manufacturers need to take note, because as you all know, I am having a hell of a nightmare lately with bloody sink marks. So knock those sprues out of there. We'll clean them up later if we need to. I don't think we will. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just rub over them now with an old flory skinny stick, just like so. So yeah, if you're watching this in the future, today is the 15th. It's the 15th of October 2025. I nearly said 2010 then. What am I thinking about? Probably just because I'm looking at that. Yeah, 15th of October 2025. So this kit will be available around about Christmas 2025. Well, this side of Christmas 2025. I'm assured by Gary. And also, those of you that will be interested, Great Wall Hobby have released, or are going to release, a 1/48 scale F16 Sufa. So that'll be a very nice kit, and I had a call from Gary today and he said he's going to send me one. So that won't be available till very early 26. But, and that'll be available from Tiger Hobbies, but it'll be retail only. Right, so what I think I'm going to do is remove these wheels and get this upper hull fitted, because this is why I like to do this. You see, I can get some pegs on there, I can clamp it, whatever, get some tape round there, pull it tight, hold it, squeeze it. But when you've got all this detail on there, you run a very high risk of damaging it. So I was going to stay with the sequence, but I just can't on this occasion, because it just seems daft. So what we'll do, we're going to remove the wheels. So they're coming off nice and easy, which is cool. They're all the same, the wheels are identical, other than that front, what is it, front left. The front left wheel is different. So they're coming off. I got a spare tyre in mine. I'm not sure if we're supposed to have 9 or 8 or what. But there we go. That steering tends to get caught up there. It needs a stop on it or something. It needs a, because what happens is it goes over and then that steering arm there gets caught up over the edge of the chassis there. It can't do on the other side because it's got stop in the way, but we need to stop that somehow. It's okay if it's that way up. It oh, it's not even doing it now. No, there it is. It's jammed now. I'll just shut up. Right, so what we can do is get this all clamped up and get it glued. What I want to do is, where we've got these, you can see down inside where we've got these lugs and pins, we'll squeeze it there and then just put a few drops of cement on it. So I wonder if I get a clothes peg on there, one of my plastic ones. Needs to move down a bit. Don't really want to clamp it where there isn't one of those lugs, because what will happen then is it will go too deep. But what I want it to do is sit nice and flush. Now that back end is staying on its own, so we'll grab the quick setting, just put a drop in there. We'll give that a little pull across. Just hold that for a bit. Okay. We'll concentrate on one side at a time. See, now that needs to, you can see we've got a gap here. If we pull that in, that gap will close up. So what we need to do now is grab a paintbrush, any old paintbrush. Okay, and then I'm going to just put a drop of the extra thin quick setting in there. Lob and let seam. That should stay. This is the beauty of the quick setting, it bites almost instantly, it's really good. It's like bloody super glue. And then what we can do is put some the other side of that pin. Right, now I'm going to take this peg off and then brush some in there around that pin and then squeeze it in and up. Okay, and then here we can run a drop into there. So I think this is worth doing at the end of the day, guys, because you know I don't have to worry about where my fingers are going, what I'm touching on, what I'm, you know, I could be breaking bits off now all over the place if I follow the instructions. So it's just it's a Riffield model thing. They always do it with all their AFVs. So it's something always worth looking at. If you think there's a better way to do something, then you know, go for it. If you're sure that it's not going to hinder anything. Like if I had parts to go on the inside, this would probably be a hindrance. But I'm just looking now. I don't have anything to go up for inside, do I? Even if I do, we've got the back end all open anyway. So right, so that's that gone together. Now the front end. Get some cement in there. Get that shackle out of the way on that one. We don't want to glue them up, do we? We can pinch that together and do the same over here. On here, I don't know if we have a, we have one there, so what we'll do is we'll put our clothes peg there. That's kind of over it, and you can see that's closed that gap up, so we can put some cement in there and give it a little push. And as you can see with the quick setting, it makes it all very, very quick. few spots in there just to hold it. Put some down in there. And then we can come in from the back and brush some down the inside, just like that. Then we can go through the turret. There we go. We got a nice strong. I've just remembered that there's a kit I've got in my stash which I would love to build. I never have. It's the old Takom G6 Rhino, the South African wheeled armoured thing. It's really weird. It looks like something off a Star Trek or something, Star Wars. If you haven't seen one, go and have a look. It's a beautiful looking thing. It's got great big wheels on it and a massive turret. A great big gun. Okay, so now I am going to brush some cement into there. There we go. Right. So there we are. That's that gone together. Got a bit of a gap there still. Just put a drop of cement in there. There we are, that's our top and bottom glued together. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a little bit and then we'll carry on with the rest. Okay, so we've got a little pile of bits here. Now I've just stuck two of these D82s on so that I don't forget them. So we'll start from the back and work forward. So we've got a D82 to go on. So this is a little lifting whatever. We'll put a drop on each pin. I'll have to be quick getting it on there. I'm not really worried about glue oozing out because these are welded on. They've got a beautiful weld on them, molded on. So get a good bit of cement in there, and then what will happen is the plastic will all meld together, and you end up with, it actually looks like it is actually welded on. So that's good. That's that one on there, and then we've got another one to go on the front here. So we'll grab all of that one, and we'll get some cement on there. Just like so. There we go, that's that done there. Right, so now we can look at that piece there, A78, which is this little box which is going to be a support for the antenna base, I believe. I don't want glue oozing on this, so what I'm going to do here is apply the part first and then apply the cement. A little drop across the bottom there, that's that in. And then we've got this piece on the top, A74, which is a round part, and that's got location pins fore aft. So again, I don't want any glue oozing out, so what we'll do is we'll use our paintbrush now. So we get precise little applications of cement. So we'll put a drop in there, and we'll put a drop in there. That's that. Okay, I just realised I've got the wrong glasses on. I can't see anything. I can't see anything with the right bloody glasses in, let's face it. Okay, so then we've got the antenna base here going in. So that's got a D-shaped pin on the bottom and a D-shaped hole on the top, and there's a mould seam, I think, down the outside, isn't there? Is that mould seam I can see on there? Okay, so we're going to get this on. D-shaped hole, D-shaped pin. We'll get that together, hold that down. And then again with our paintbrush for a precision application, we'll just put a little bit in there. And that's that glued on. Or cemented on, should I say. Just make sure it's correctly orientated. Get that out of the way so we don't put the part down on top of it. Then we've got this piece here, G1, which is like what they've done here, these armour plates, they've anything that's vertical rather than slide mold it or anything, which they can't do there anyway. They've given us as a separate part. So that's got a little lug on it, so we're going to slide that across until it sort of locks into place. And I'm just going to put a drop of glue in this end, and then I'll put a drop in this end, just like that. Okay, then we've got A17, which is this little piece here, and that's going to go on the, where's that going? On the end of there. So that's going to close off that vent, that engine cooling vent. I'm guessing we need to put this piece on first, A19. So there's A19, so we're going to put that on first. That looks like it's very slightly damaged on the top of there. It's from having the sprues rolling around on top of it. You need to sort that out. You need to put something over it. If you're watching RFM, you need to put like a piece of foam around there, a la trumpeter style or something, because this is at the bottom of the box and the sprues have all been rattling around. And caused some damage. I also noticed I had some damage on the back of a couple of the wheel rims as well. So that's fitted on there beautifully, and then this piece here will go on the end. Hang on a minute, let's get this in our tweezers. I'm guessing it's going to sit down in that recess. Okay, yeah, there is a recess there. So that's going to sit down there, just like so. And then we've got this little piece here, A29. So that's got a couple of pins. There's ejector pins on the back of these, so I've made sure I've sanded them off. Brush some cement into there, and brush a drop into there. There we go, that's that one. A84 is this piece here. Now in the instructions it's showing like a little dot on the top of there, like a hole or something, but unfortunately that is the sprue gate, so I'm not sure if we're going to have to drill something there. No, it does have it there actually. What am I talking about? The sprue gate must be on the other side, on the left hand side. Shut up, Nigel, you're talking rubbish again. Okay, so that's going to go over that little raised portion there. So there's a little raised area, and that's going to sit on top of it. There we go. I'm going to have to go and get my other glasses because I can't bloody see a thing here. I'll do these pieces because they're quite large, but I'll get my glasses for that bit of photo etch. There's a little bit of photo etch to go on there. So this side panel here is going to go on here. So that fits lovely. Again, we've got ejector pin marks, so make sure you sand them, even if they've got a little raised edge around the outside. It's going to hinder the fit. So that's just going to pop on there. Look at that, straight on. Lovely. And then on this one, again, ejector pin marks on the back. Make sure you run a sander over them. Yep, that fits beautifully. So drop of cement in there, drop of cement in there. That's a bit too much there. So we'll spread that out a bit. And then we can plonk that down on there like that. It's like Lego, isn't it? It's bloody easy. Right, and then this piece here is going to be part of the engine vent support. Lots of detail on there, moulded on. So put a drop of cement in there and a drop in there, and that will be enough to hold that in place. And then finally, for the plastic parts, we've got this little part here, G2. These are actually attached to a sprue inside the turret, so make sure you don't accidentally throw that away. So we've got on the back of that vent, there's two little recesses. You can see we've got two little pegs on that part, and they're going to sit down in those two recesses just like so. And then a little drop of cement. You can see the value in using these a little paintbrush rather than the big brush in the jar. There we go, and I'm just going to, just in case we've got a little bit of oozage, just brush over it with a bit more cement, and if we have got any usage, that'll get rid of it. So there we are. It's very, very refined, lots of detail by using multiple parts, isn't it? It's beautiful. Really nice. Now that little bracket, this little bracket here, tiny little thing, they don't actually show very well how it goes, but they do. It does have a little fold line on it, so it's just going to bend over. But you can look all through the instructions and you can't see how it goes until you get right, I think it's right at the end. Yeah, there. You can see it there. So if you get a magnifier, you can see it sort of glued on with its round part at the bottom, and it's got a little shoulder sticking up. It's like a strap, like a buckle, like on your belt. It's like a little belt buckle. So we need a tiny drop of super glue. So I'm going to use my VMS Flexi 5K for CA because it's amazing. If I've got any left after that bloody Pagani. God, that thing used some glue, I tell you. That's the Poker Pagani I'm talking about. I've just got soot all over my finger. Right, so what I'm going to do is get that. I'm just going to do a little test fit. See if that. I've just flicked it across the room. I knew I shouldn't use these bloody old. Oh, look at that, it's there. Don't use those shitty old tweezers, Nigel. Get your nice god hands out. These won't flick it across the room. Right, so I'm just going to do a quick little check and make sure that's going to fit over that pin. I can't see a thing. I'm going to get my glasses, guys, and then I'll be back. There we go, so that's fitted on. As you can see there, absolutely tiny little piece. I've just had a thought. You can see it there on the box art. Okay, so that's how it goes. All right. Yeah, I wish they'd had an enlarged picture of how it goes, because that would have made life a lot easier than hunting it down. Okay, so we've used that little tiny drop. Dottie's got her toys. Right, so that is now that step done. I'm just going to quickly go around and check I haven't knocked anything, like these little lifting eyes or anything. Nothing that's been knocked. Everything's looking good. It's a lovely kit, isn't it, guys? I'm just looking here now. I've got my proper glasses and I can see that I haven't fitted that piece there properly. It's sitting up. So what I'm going to do is get some extra thin quick setting and brush it on where I brushed it on before, and that will reinvigorate the cement, and then I should be able to pull it away. Maybe I did have it correct. No, I don't think I did. So we'll pull it away, just like so. We just put another drop of extra thin down there. That'll make that easy to come away. There we go. Right, so you can see on the back of here we've got two pins. And we can see there we've got two holes, and it looks like the holes aren't big enough diameter wise for the pins. So the easiest way to do that now, because we're here, is just use a knife and just open up those holes slightly. Okay, see if getting your drills out and everything. And then I'm just going to grab a radius blade I can see what the problem is. That is chamfered off. So that's why it looks like it's not correctly fitted. Okay, so bear that in mind when you build yours. You can see here the top of this vent here is chamfered off. It's supposed to be, that's the separate moulding, that is part A19, so that's why it looks like it's not on properly. Okay, so glad I messed that up and you don't have to. I haven't messed anything up, it just means a bit more work because I've now got to clean up from where I removed it. Just scrape away the old cement and the old sort of distorted plastic, just like so. There we go, and then we should be able to pop this on. I still don't think it was correctly in those holes, but it certainly did look right on the top. So as you can see, when you look at it, you can see it sort of looks like it's not on properly because the gap is wider here than it is up there, but that's because it's tapering down on that top edge. So that may cause you some issues if you're at your models in shows. The judge may look at that and think, oh, you haven't fitted that part properly. So you might want to, if you are going to build one of these and put it in a show, you might want to take the manual along, grab a judge and show them, because the judge will look at that straight away and think you haven't put that on properly because it just doesn't look right. There we go. Right, so we got there in the end, and we've got a little piece of photo etch on the side there as well. Okay, I think I've bent that a little bit too much. I'm just going to unbend it slightly. There we go. Right, so we come over the page, and now we've got lots and lots more little greeblies and grills and panels and everything to do. Right, moving along, I have got the parts off. This is actually a couple of days later now. And all these tiny little bits, these tiny little handles and hooks and greeblies and bits and pieces, I've actually gone on and fitted. So we've got, just so you can see what's going on here, we've got these two little handles here, grab handles on the sides. They are D41. Just looking, that one could go in a touch more. They don't actually fit that well. They leave a bit of a gap behind. I think there's leave when you do yours, leave some sprue gate on there and then push them in, because there's like a, I don't know if you can see it here, but there's like there's an indentation in this sort of rib here that they should really go into, but they've got a flange on the bottom, as you can see there. So a little bit of Mr. Surfacer and those gaps would be gone. And then we have here, we have the little handle here, A58. There's this little, what looks like some sort of ratchet mechanism there. That's A54. This tiny little thing here, which I think is a bump stop for when that hatch is opened. That one is A82. That's absolutely tiny. There, little handle there. There's a little greebly there, and then we've got another handle here. So I've fitted all them off camera because obviously I need my magnifier to do it, and it's difficult to film with the magnifier on. So we've got these rest of these larger pieces. So we've got this hatch here, which has an internal handle as well. We've got ejector pin marks in there, so if you're having that hatch open, why would you? There's ejector pin marks on there. We've got this hatch here, which is going to go in the back. We've got this little hatch here, which has got another little handle on it, as you can see. And then we've got these little tiny parts here, which, you know, this little plastic tray is so handy. It's from the D'Agostini Ferrari, I think. It's got a little lid that goes on as well, so you can put your parts in there. It's really handy. So let's get these hatches on. So basically, this one, you'll be very careful picking this up now because we've got little greeblies everywhere. That one is going to pop into there. Okay, so that fits beautifully into there. So what we'll do, we will put a tiny drop of the quick setting on these hinges. And then if I just put a tiny drop there and a tiny drop there, that'll be enough to hold that in place. Then this one's going to go next to it. This one hinges up. This is obviously for spent shells. So a little drop there, a little drop there, and one little drop there. That'll be enough to hold that in. Then we've got this one here going on the back, so we can drop that onto there like so. That's a lovely fit in there. So what I'm going to do is hold it down, and I'm just going to put a drop of cement on that pivot and a drop of cement on the other side there, and that will hold that one in place. Remember, none of this needs to be really held in place. It's not a working model. It doesn't need to be solid. So here we have this extra additional armour here going on the back, which fits beautifully on top of those fasteners there. So what I'm going to do here is use some ordinary extra thin, because the quick setting will just dry before I get the part on there. So I'm going to put a drop on there and a drop in each of these holes. Okay, and then that will hold the part for us. Right, so just drop that down on like that. That's fitted straight on. No messing about whatsoever. It's lovely. I really do like RFM kits. It does actually look like, that's what I thought when I was looking at it just now, they've missed out a location. There's no, this one here, there's no hole. Gotta get this quick because this glue, there's no hole in this part to go over that one. So what we're going to do there, we're going to take our knife and remove that pip from there. Now remember, this could be pre-production, I'm not sure. But have a look at yours, and if there's no pip there, then just put a drop in here to refresh this cement. Give that a good squeeze down. I'm not sure that cement's still holding, to be honest. Yeah, they've done the same there. They don't have a hole. I can't get it up now. Ooh, misses. There we go. Yeah, they don't have a hole for that one either, so we're going to take the top off of that one. Right. Yeah, so I know there's a lot of cement going on here, but it's all hidden away, so don't worry about it too much. I should have noticed that before. You saw me dry fit it, but I didn't notice it at the time. Those two bits need to be done. So now I've shown you, and you know. So that one there and that one there, you need to remove the pip. I mean, you could drill a hole in the panel, but then there we go. So that's gone down. Alright, and then finally we've got these two little pieces here. So we've got A66, which is going to go, okay, there's two, we've got some holes there for it to go into. So very thoughtfully made, this model. They've got all the detail as separate parts. So that is basically going to drop down on there, and that should stay there. So put a drop of extra thin into there, and a drop on the top. That'll hold that in place. Just going to make sure it's actually in position. Yes, it is. Okay, and then we'll stop using this extra thin, and we'll use the quick setting. And then we have this little piece here is going to go down on top of it. So that's going to sit down in there. just like that. And there we go. So I think that's that step all done. I've just noticed something in the instructions. They actually tell you to remove those bits with a knife, and I missed it. Duh. Anyway, that's that done. They're telling you to remove the whole thing, but you only need to remove the pip, really. You can see it's nice and level there. Perhaps take a little bit of it off. There is perhaps a slight angle there, but yeah, how could I miss that? Look at that. They tell you to remove them. I need to look at the instructions more carefully. Right, so we've done all the plastic parts. Now we've got some photo etch to do. So we will grab our photo etch, wherever it may be, hiding in the bottom of the box. Come here. Okay, so we'll get this out. In fact, we already just keep this out, didn't we? Because keep sliding it in and out of those decals, we're going to damage something. So I'm going to grab my little cutting mat, and then what I'm going to do is remove this upper sheet rather than mess around cutting holes out of it. So we'll remove that upper sheet, and we want these two grills, Y1 and Y2. So that's this one here. So we'll push the knife in, cut, push the knife in, cut. Just like so. We also want Y5 and Y12, don't we? So we'll get those as well. Notice I use a radius blade for cutting out my photo etch. I think I've done all those down that side, haven't I? I like to use a radius blade because you can always use a different part of the knife and you can roll the blade. I'm not sure that that one there actually cut, did it? So yeah, just pull the plastic sheeting back. It's good to leave one side on because it stops the parts pinging out because it's slightly adhesive. If you've got tiny little parts, rather than cut them and have them fly across the room and then you never see them again. There we go. And then we've got Y5, which is this one here. Slide the knife across. Alright, get those cut out. Get under it. There we are. And then we've got Y12 here. There's that one. Right, so we'll get those nubs filed off, sanding stick, because it's brass we can just use a sanding stick, and then we'll come back. I think there's a fold in there. Is there a fold line? No, there may be a mark where it's got to be folded, but we'll have a look in a sec. I'm going to get those nubs sanded off. I'll come straight back. Right, as you can see, these parts, when you look at the instructions, these parts have a bend in them. Okay, so Y1 and Y2, this one's bent over on the bottom and the top, this one just has the one bend. Now make sure you've got these the right way up. Obviously this one will only go one way because of its shape. So it needs to be bent because it's got to fit on here. As you can see, there is a bend. Now, if you look at the back very carefully, I don't know if you can see it on here, if I can catch it in the light, but there are two little marks. There's one there and there's one there, and that is showing where it's going to be folded. So I'm going to use my folder. Now hopefully, as I say, make sure we're bending it the right way. Hopefully I can get this blade to sit in those little undercuts, and then I can slide the part in and make sure we get it in the right place. Now I've got a little 10 times magnifier here, So I can see that that one's right, but this one here is correct, but that one there is not. So I'm going to just slightly loosen and pull this out, and then using my magnifier, because my eyes are shot, I can see what's going on. I can see that one's still too far in, so I'll pull that out a touch, use the magnifier. Okay, pulled that out a touch too much. There's a song in there somewhere. So we can get the blade into that recess and then push it over, and then again we can look and we can see, and I know you can't see, but I can see that those two indentations are in the right place, and then I can just get the blade under there and give that a little bend. I'm sure that's going to be enough. It doesn't need much. As you can see there, we've got a nice straight bend. We need to make sure, be so careful with all these little grab handles and everything. We need to make sure that we got the angle right. So the top's going to sit in that recess. Right, so it's slightly too much. So what we'll do, we'll put it down on a flat surface. And then we use something flat, not our finger. Just put a bit of pressure on it just to flatten it out a bit. There we go. Let's turn the model around. Make it easier to fit on it. There we go, that's fitting on there beautifully. So that's that one done. Okay, and then I like to do all the bending first, and then we'll put the parts on. The reason is we'll get some super glue on the palette, and then we can do it all together. If you start to mess around and do little bits and pieces in between, what happens is the super glue goes off. It doesn't go off completely, but it starts to get a little thicker as it's sat in the atmosphere. Right, so we've got this one here to consider. Now on this one, we have, you can clearly see we have indentations in here for the angled folds at the top. At the bottom, I'm not sure what we'll have. We'll have a look at our magnifier. And yes, there is a little recess for us to bend with. So I'm going to do the bottom part first, because that looks like the hardest part to see. Okay, so I can feel the indentation there. And I get the blade into the indentation in that side, push that one in. And then using the magnifier again, we can see that yes, the indentation is there, and yes, the indentation is there. So that is actually correct, is it? Nope, that top needs to go in a little bit more. I think this one needs to come out. There's Dottie having a grumble. Yep, that one does need to go in a bit more still. It's a case of getting the blade in the right place and having just the right amount of tension on the knob here. It's something you can't learn off of anyone. You sort of just get to know how much pressure is right. That's still not straight. So I'm going to get into that one. Just bring it out a touch. I'm going to do this off camera, guys, because it's boring. There we go, you can see that piece now fitted. I've done the 3 bends in it, and not only does it show that I've been extremely careful with the bending, but it also shows how perfect Rayfield model have got those marks, because I followed the marks and it absolutely fits beautifully. You can see at the bottom here, if I just flip this out, there is a, careful to grab the bends, there is a recess in the bottom for it to sit into, so when you actually do yours, you could probably see it down there now. When you do yours, make sure you get that recess, make sure you get it in that recess. So then we have this piece here, which is Y12, and then that should fit neatly into there. There's no folding required. That's a good one. And then this one here, I've managed to put a fold in it. And that one is going to fit into there, is it? Is it square? No, I think it's rectangular. And I think I've got it upside down as well. No, I haven't. So it's going that way, like that. That's got a recess to sit in. Now then, if I was building this model and painting it and everything, I would paint these grills in behind black before I put these on, because otherwise, unless you can get the paint in all the angles, you're going to always see from when you look at the model from here, you'll see beige plastic, and you look straight down, it look okay. So I'm kind of thinking, should I go in there with the black paint just in case I do decide to paint it afterwards? Because it will look pretty awful if you can see that beige behind there. Excuse me. I think I will. I'll be back in a second. So that's done. So we've painted those grills black, and I've also painted the back of the Photo-etch black as well. So we won't see brass, we won't see tan plastic, but I doubt I should paint it anyway, but just in case. Okay, so this we'll put this large panel in first. So grab it from the back, there we go. And we'll drop this in and make sure it's correctly seated, because it has like a flange all the way around and it has to sit in that recess. Okay, so we can look at that and make sure it's in there. Don't be guided by the black paint. The black paint is all over the place because the masking isn't perfect. But right, so what I've got here is a piece of stretch sprue, and I've got here a little puddle of the VMS XT thin. All I'm going to do is place a drop of this in that corner. I'm using the XT thin because it will wick its way around, and it will actually, don't worry about the glue, the paint, it will actually attack the paint and get under it. And the beauty of it being XT thin, it is extremely thin. It's like water. And it won't leave any marks. Okay, and then what we can do is take a cotton bud, just in case, and we'll just dab wherever we've gone, just to remove any excess or anything. And as you can see, that is now fixed in place. No, it's not fixed in place on that bottom edge. So I'm going to put a drop in there. The problem is if you use too much, you run the risk of clogging up the mesh. That's still not staying down. Just going to give it a little prod. The tweezers. Ah, there we go. You heard it click in then. It was just outside the edge. That was what was holding it out. Yeah, okay, so what I've got is it just sitting on the edge. It's catching right on the edge of that flange. If I push it with the tweezers, it actually goes down in. So there we go. So I'm going to roll a cotton bud across it. You can hear it flicking out. How annoying is that? Right, what I'm going to do now is grab a straight edge, something like a rule. So we've got a nice square edge. And then I should be able to push this down in along its edge and make sure everything's gone in. If you use something flat, it won't actually damage the panel. There we go, that's gone in now down there. So what I'll do is put another drop of the glue in there on that edge and then mop up the excess just like so. Alright, I'll do the rest, the same for the others, and then I'll be back. Alright, moving along, we've got those parts glued in and they're looking lovely. So that's all done. That XT Thin is really good glue. Okay, so moving on now, we're looking at step A4. And this is the driver's hatch, I believe. So we have these vision blocks going in, and you can see on these there is a tiny little, you can see on the drawing there, there's a tiny little block. So make sure that's at the front and you've got the window facing down. So it's going to go in that way. So we need to make sure that's going in like that. Okay, so these three, you would normally paint these first. But I'm not going to, and if I do end up painting the model, what I'll probably do is just paint it all green and then go in with some black gloss where the vision blocks are. Which is an alternate way of doing everything. I think I've got that one the wrong way around, haven't I? So as you can see that block through the other side, it's almost, they are so clear. They're very, very nice. Okay, so they just push in there, and I'm going to get the tiniest drop of cement. Just touch. And hopefully that will be enough to hold them in. Then we can look at the outside and make sure they're vertical. There we go. So that's those in. Okay, so that's looking good. And then there's a handle inside which is totally unnecessary if you're having the hatch closed, but I thought I'd fit it anyway. So we'll put a tiny drop of cement in there, tiny drop in there. We've also got ejector pin marks as well in here, guys, so if you want to do your model nice, that's going that way round. So there's a big pin and a small pin. Make sure you get it the right way round for that latch handle there. Okay, and then we can turn it over, and then we can put these bits and pieces on here. Now in here it says D52. Okay, that's wrong, because you can see up here there's D52, and because it's on the D sprue there's two of them, but that part there looks nothing like that there. That's like a latch for holding it open. So I've looked through the D sprue, I've looked through the A sprue, and I can't find anything like it. There is a part on the B sprue, B38 I think it is, but we'll leave that for now and then come back to it. The part will be in here, I think. It's just, is it on the CAD model? Yes, it's there. So it probably will be in the box somewhere. If not, we just make it out of a piece of card. It's only a little straight with an angle on the top. So we've got all these bits and pieces here to go on. So we're going to start with, we'll put the front on first. So the front is just a rectangle with the three fastening points. So that's going to go on like that. And again, with the cement, put a drop in each side. That'll hold that in place. And then we've got the front. Now, this is very clever here. We've got these three small pieces here, put them all facing up, and they've got little notches on them so you can't get it wrong. So this is the front here, and this has got the two little notches on the back. So I'm going to grab my tweezers and use the tweezers to fit this. You might want to do this before you fit the vision blocks actually. So then we can put a drop of cement in there from the sides so it won't be visible. And then we've got this one here, A49, which is like a parallelogram. So that can go either way up, like so. we just put a drop of cement into that corner and a drop into that corner there. So that's that held down. And then we've got this piece on the side here, A63, and that's going to go onto there. Again, you can see it's got a little piece coming around the front for the additional armour. So what we can do here is put a drop of cement underneath that corner there. Make sure that stays down. We can see the front is kind of springing away. You can put a drop of cement in there. There we are. A bit of reaction will pull that in. Okay, so that's that gone in there. And then we have a little piece here, A52, which again has a little block on it, so that's going to go into there. That's a lovely fit in there. So what I'm going to do is put a drop of the extra thin in there and then quickly get this on. It's dried out. I have to use the ordinary extra thin. Come here. Ah. Get that in there and just plonk that into position in there. There we go. So that's that in place. And we've got a tiny little handle A57. I'm going to leave that off for the moment because I fear I'll knock it off. And then we turn this around and we've got this side piece here to go on. Again, we've got those two little notches in the bottom which help us align it. There's too much glue on there. Drop there. And a drop there. Okay, that's gone on. And then we've got the rear piece. You can see this is a bloody detailed hatch. It is beautifully detailed. Okay, and then we can put a drop in there and a drop in there because that rear piece is going to go in and the hinges will hide the glue spots. That's in there, and then this is the hinge and spring. That's going to sit in those little grooves that I've just put some cement in, so it's probably still just tacky. We just have that in there, make sure it's well cemented because it's one of those things that's going to get caught. And then we have this final little side piece here, and that's got two little notches in the bottom of it, so you know which way up it goes. Okay, and also it aids the positioning. So that's gone in like that. Okay, that's gone in there. And then we have this piece coming over the top, A22, which is the cover for our vision blocks. Obviously, if you were painting your model, you'd paint those vision blocks. And just put a drop of cement in each end, just like so. We can put a little bit on those middle legs as well. Drop, drop. And that's the cover for those vision blocks done. So you can see that is absolutely beautifully, that detailed hatch. And then finally we got this little handle going on, little grab handle. So we'll put a drop of cement in there and a drop of cement in there, and then we'll pick our grab handle up with our lovely God hand tweezers and just place that into its position. Come on. Oh, come on. And then just a tiny drop of the quick setting. That should help that go off a bit quicker. So there's the hatch all done, all but D52. So I'm going to grab a red pen, just make a circle around that so it stands out a bit, and then we can we'll find it as we go. I've had a look, it's not on a Photo-etch fret, but I cannot find it in any of the sprues. So coming over the page here, we have some parts to get off, so I'll get those off and we'll get this final bit of assembly done. Okay, so we'll get these few bits done and then we'll call it a day for this video. So coming over the page here, we've got this engine cover hatch, the main hatch going on, and we've got these little greeblies. There's this little tiny piece here, I fitted that, that one's there. There's a little tie down there, I fitted that. And we got this A11 is this sort of handle on there, that's fitted in place as you can see. And then I've got these two little handles here, D45, they go on the hatch and they are fitted there, and I've just got them randomly positioned. I don't like have everything dead straight. So this hatch is going to go down. So I haven't test fitted this yet. This is the first. Look at that. Wow. Look at the fit on that. Right, so let's lift that up. Okay, so I'm not sure where we're going to put cement on this. I think I'll put a couple of drops on the hinges. But, that is absolutely amazing, that fit. We've got a little area we can come in under there, look. Yeah, we can come in into there, and that will allow us to get some on the top. And then we'll put a little tiny drop on each hinge. Okay, so that's that in place. And then we've got this beautiful hatch going on, unless it's part that we haven't got. We don't know what it is. So we've got these lovely springs on the back. So this is going to just drop down in place. That was what that ratchety thing was I'm talking about. It's actually the mount for the hatch. Now that's sort of wandering around a little bit in there. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go. So I'm not going to glue it yet because we've got these little parts here, A61, A62. I've left these on the sprue because I wanted to make sure I get them right. So this is 61. And this one is cleaned up. So that one's going to go on this side and that's going to go in there. And it's going to hook over that spring. Okay, that's interesting. Right, and then this one, notice I'm not gluing that other one in because it looks like the hatch needs to lift to fit this in. So I'm just going to hold that in my tweezers. Get rid of that bit of sprue. Okay, and then we'll put this in position. We'll hold it down here. And I'm going to slide that over that piece there and then knock the back down in. There we go. You can see how they fit. They're absolutely gorgeous, the fit of those little hinges. And then we'll put a tiny drop of cement into those. Like so, and then we'll put a little bit on the actual hatch itself. And then for the front of the hatch, we'll just put a drop in each corner. There we go. So that's step 9 complete. Now step 10, I've gone on and fitted this hatch and this little pipe here, A81. I fitted the pipe and then just carried on and forgot the camera wasn't on. So sorry I fitted that hatch without you, but there's basically 4 legs on there. You can see 2 legs there at the front of that little cover. That's like a vent or something for the engine bay, I think. And then this one here is going to go on the back. And this is like, it looks like a rack that let's get this in the right orientation. It looks like a little rack that the antenna would pop into. So we'll get some cement on there and then we'll just plonk that down onto there like so. Pick it up, make sure it's straight, vertical and all good stuff like that. So there we go. So there we are. Right, that's that done. In fact, what I'm going to do, because that cement might have dried out, I'm just going to put a drop in from that side just to make sure you got little bits falling off. Right, so that's there. So that's steps 9 and 10 done, and then when we look at step 11, it's quite a major assembly. We're building up this rear end. So what I may do is glue the rear end onto the hull first and then glue all the greeblies on, in case we need to start using tape and stuff to pull it down. But there we go, we're going to call that a day then for part 2. We're getting on really well with this, and then I will see you back really soon for part 3. So thank you for watching. I don't remember if I said at the beginning of this video, I think I probably did. But the kit, it is currently October 2025. The kit should be available this side of Christmas, so it's going to be the first couple of weeks of December. So the kit should be available then, and it's going to be £53.99. There's lots of extras for it. Go and have a look at the review I did. You can get wheels and bits and pieces, and it's turning out to be a lovely, lovely build. It's going together beautifully. The only snag so far, as you've just seen, is this part here. D52 is not correct. I'm sure the part is here somewhere on the sprues, but I cannot find it for the life of me. I can't see it anywhere, unfortunately. It's here somewhere. I think it's probably on the A sprue because there's only one of them. But and before you say no, it's not A52, we've already used that. So yeah, don't know. It'll turn up. It'll be here somewhere, I'm sure of it. Right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you for part 3. Bye for now.